वंदे लोकतिलकं सत्ततवार्त विभूषणं अमरकृति उत्सरणं प्रबुद्धं लोकजीवनं प्रणय प्रमत्त जागदीपनं वंदे जीवन जीवनं सत्पुरुषं ब्रह्ममार्ग प्रदर्शकं प्रेम भक्ति विनायकं शांति स्वस्ति विधायकं जुगाचार्य प्रवरं नौमि आचार्यं प्रवरं नौमि. I offer my heartiest regards and respects to all of you to give a chance to speak before all of you in this auspicious occasion of BYC 2023. I am going to speak on the topic how to be concentric. My previous speakers have spoken extraordinarily well, so it's very difficult to speak, especially after Lingaraj Das Jajan. Anyway, I'll try my level best. The topic is how to be concentric. So I'll be speaking like this. I'll divide my talk like this. I'll first of all define what is concentric. Then I will try to include two things. Why to be concentric, then how to be concentric. Concentric क्यों होना चाहिए, उसके बाद कैसे होंगे. पहले समझेंगे concentric क्या है, what is concentric. Then how to be concentric, why to be concentric and how to be concentric. So coming to the definition of a concentric, I've just dividing the word concentric into three parts: con, center and IC. So con is to be with. This has been defined by Sri Thakur itself. Thakur says con means to be with, center, and IC, I have coined this word through intensive cohesion. So concentric means to remain in tuned with the center through a strong force of attachment. And it's not a new thing, it's a common principle on which many of the objects in the nature are actually working upon. Many of the stable systems are actually based upon this particular principle. I've cited a few examples here. Nowadays, biomimicry is coming in a great way in design. Whenever you go for design, when you mimic the nature, it is expected to give us a good result. So I've cited a few examples, and most of the nature-inspired designs are expected to be most robust designs, right? So, as every balance systems are basically been designed as concentric, so the reverse is also true. If a concentric human being must lead to a balanced life. So I'm just applying it reverse way. So this principle of the nature can easily be implemented in my life. When every system, if you see in the macro level, the entire universe is just floating in the vacuum, only because of a small reason that it is concentric about sun. Similarly, if you go peep deep inside the material, you'll find the electron, proton, neutrons are all concentric about the nucleus. So this concentric principle, if I apply it to my life itself, I'm obviously going to lead a balanced life, because this is obviously a nature-inspired concept, right? So the concentric, the term is having basically three things: an individual, a lobe center, and attachment to the lobe center. I'm trying to I've just shown a figure here: an individual, a lobe center, and a deep attachment between that. So if these three things are fulfilled, I'm concentric. Okay. So I'll discuss phase by phase. We'll just discuss three things. Individual. As an individual, what are my lacunas? Because so many things has been discussed over here based on individualism. So as an individual, what are the lacunas? What is the lacuna points in individualism? Why do I need, and how those points can be overcome if I go for an ideal, and how that can be ensured through an attachment. So coming to the individual part first. Now the basic urge of an individual, in spite of all isms, Sri Thakur has said one ism called existentialism. Everybody believes that he wants to live, he wants to grow. So this is the basic urge of every human being. At this point, all the isms has to converge, that everybody believes in existentialism. So if I want to live, if I want to grow, that is the basic urge of mine, then why I'm not being able to live and grow, flourish in a flourishing manner? Because there are certain principles of being and becoming, and I'm not being able to follow that. I know what is good for me, I know what is bad for me, but I'm not being able to decide. And when coming to action, I'm not being able to replicate it properly. So, coming to the challenges of a human being or an individual, if as an individual my goal is clear, I want to live, I want to grow, but what are the issues? Why I'm not being able to live and grow in a flourishing manner? The first point is incoherence in thought, word and action. मेरा सोचना, मेरा बोलना और मेरा करने में incoherence है. It's a very common problem with all of us. I've given an example here that we know cigarette smoking is injurious to health. We say that, we know that, we say that, but when it comes to action, I'm not being able to replicate it. I know what is good for me, but it's very difficult to, thanks a lot, sir. I know what's good for me, but it is very difficult to replicate in action. So incoherence in thought, word and action is a basic problem with every individual. The next problem with an individual is weak willpower. Because of this incoherence in thought, word and action, I'm actually getting dried up from inside. If your thought and word and action will not match, replicate, then you are going to have a very weak zeal power. So next issue with an individual is weak willpower. As Lingaraj was showing, when life puts challenges outside my comfort zone, we yield because of this weak willpower. The third issue with the individual is we are unaware of the individual instinct. All are not meant for engineering, all are not meant for medical. I'm not exactly knowing that what I'm exactly designed for. What is my inner hankering? मेरे अंदर से क्या आवाज आ रहा है? मुझे ये सुनने के लिए टाइम भी नहीं है. I go for the outside roads a lot. बाकी लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं? मार्केट का सिचुएशन क्या है? अभी ट्रेंडिंग क्या है? MBA अच्छा चल रहा है तो MBA करते हैं. अभी फिजिक्स अभी इंजीनियरिंग अच्छा चल रहा है तो इंजीनियरिंग करते हैं. Means what exactly my inner hankering is that I'm not able to hear. So I'm unaware of my inner instinct. Like the example is Sachin Tendulkar was actually designed to play cricket, and Lata Mangeshkar was actually designed to sing song. So these were the inner instincts. They could realize that, so they excelled. So my confusion as an individual is I'm not being aware of my inner instincts, what I'm designed for. The next is illusion. Enjoyment at the cost of my own existence. Means all my enjoyments are actually at the cost of my own existence, and I don't exactly realize that. Sister Thakur has given a very nice example. This example is given by Sister Thakur. Sister Thakur says, desert में जो ऊंट होता है camel, that camel उसको तो खाने के लिए कुछ मिलता नहीं है, so वो कांटे का जो पौधा रहता है, that cactus, it eats the cactus, and it feels that it is very tasty. But the fact is, when he eats that cactus goes into his jaws, and blood comes out. That blood gets mixed with the cactus, and it gives the taste. So the enjoyment is actually at the cost of its own existence. So when I take cigarette, actually I'm hampering my own existence. I don't want to die. I never want to die, but at the same time I want to live, but walking on the path of the death. How is it possible? This illusion is a major problem of an individual, that I want to live at the cost of my own existence. How is it possible? Imbalanced life. This is a major issue. Every individual, like when I was a student, I was with my parents. Sorry, when I was not come to IITs and universities, an individual was with his parent, so he was attached to the parents. When he grows, friends come, he becomes more attached to the friends, and he becomes attached to the parents. Then his family comes, he becomes more attached to the family, and he again gets detached from the rest of the part. So he basically is very difficult to strike out a balance among all the relationships what I live. So as an individual, I'm actually failing to strike out a perfect balance between all the relationships. So this imbalanced life is another major challenge as an individual what I'm facing. So how it can be overruled? Only by selecting a center. Like I've given 3 centers, and an individual can have 3 options. He can go for, basically if I categorize all of us will be coming into 3 categories. Few of us believe in an imaginary center, most of us will have a inferior center, and very few of us will have a superior center of love. Imaginary center of love क्या होता है? Like George Bernard Shaw said, beware of the man whose God lives in the sky. Most of the people say, भगवान कहाँ है? आकाश में है, पेड़ में है, पौधे में है. Like an imaginary concept about God, because that is very easy. भगवान को आकाश में रखने से सुविधा क्या होता है? भगवान मेरे साथ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट नहीं करते. He doesn't interfere in my life. So that's an imaginary center of love. Second one is an inferior center of love. That is, like I love my child, I love my wife. They are small to me, they are smaller to me. So attachment to someone lower to me is in fact called asakti. And attachment to someone beyond my own comprehension or dimension is called bhakti. So most of us are actually attached to people who are smaller to my dimension. So that means unknowingly we have made someone smaller as my center of life. That means it's a inferior love center. So what is needed then? Neither an inferior love center nor an imaginary love center is going to guide me properly. I need what? I need a superior love center who should be living, who should be beyond complexes, who should be full of supremacy, who should be full of divine powers to guide me properly on my path of achievements. Now coming to, I've talked about the individual, I talked about selection of center. Now coming to attributes of a love center. What are the attributes of a love center? The first attribute is, my superior love center is a physical embodiment of all the principles of being and becoming. Means all the principles, जो करने से मैं अच्छे से बचूंगा और बढ़ूंगा, उसका एक फिजिकल एम्बोडिमेंट वो खुद हैं. उनको देखने से समझ में आता है कि कैसे अच्छे से बचा जाए और कैसे अच्छे से बढ़ा जाए. Lingaraj was just citing that example only. Like here in this institute, there's a huge library. At the same time, there are professors. Students will be learning a lot, learning more, if they will be in touch with the professor as compared to sitting in the library. Because professors are actually practical embodiments of the knowledge. So my living ideal is a practical embodiment of all these principles of being and becoming. So if I go in contact with him, it is easier for me to get abide by the rules of principles of being and becoming. So the first point is, he's an acharya. He's having a perfect coherence in the thought, word and action. जो पहला प्रॉब्लम मैंने बताया था, as an individual, मेरा चिंता बोलना और करने में कोहेरेंसी नहीं है, लेकिन मेरा जो आइडियल है, he is an acharya having a perfect coherence of thought, word and action. Second attribute, he is an unending source of inspiration. Like when life puts critical challenges before me, he is capable of raising me up. The example just now Lingaraj was telling, why so many people are so many intellectuals are committing suicides. A student from IIT is filled with all assets in life. A glorious past and a glorious present is waiting for him at the same time he is committing suicide. Why? Because there is no one to inspire him, motivate him at the time of distress. The role that is being played by Sri Krishna, Purushottama Sri Krishna to Arjuna, when Arjuna was feeling disheartened to go for the war, he was capable of inspiring him. So he's a source of inspiration, capable of unfolding my inner instinct. As I was telling, I was not being aware of my inner instinct. I don't know what I have been designed for, but my superior beloved is Vaishisthyapali. When I go to him, when I be in touch with him, I automatically realize what I have really been designed for. There are some certain examples like Chandasoko was been converted to Dharmasoko. This we know all. Then there's an example of Dashu Ratnakar being converted to Valmiki. They're actually forgotten about their inner instincts, which have been realized when they come in contact with a superior beloved. The fourth one is a clear vision. I was having a lack of vision, but my superior beloved is having a very clear vision. He can see the things very clearly. So when I come in contact with him, my vision also gets very clear. This example is also given, cited by Sri Thakur, that when a human being, a man, when he travels in a desert, मरुस्थल में जब वो कोई आदमी अकेला मूव करता है तो उसको बहुत प्यास लगता है, he gets thirst. So उसको मिरेज दिखता है, मिरेज, मृगतृष्णा डिसीव्स हिम, उसको पानी के संधान में उसको घुमाता है, अल्टीमेटली पानी नहीं मिलता एंड ही लिव्स, माने ही ultimately dies out of water. Sri Thakur had said, but when a person in desert go along with a camel, ऊंट के सहारे जो लोग ट्रैवल करते हैं उनको अल्टीमेटली पानी मिल ही जाता है, because in the desert the camel knows where the water is. The problem is इंसान के आंखों में मिरेज दिखता है, मृगतृष्णा दिखता है, लेकिन ऊंट की आंखों में मृगतृष्णा नहीं दिखता है. सो गाइड वो हैं, सुपीरियर बिलोवेड वो हैं who is out of all illusions. उनके आंखों में कोई illusion नहीं है. He can clearly guide me to my real destination. The last one, I lead an imbalanced life, and my ideal, my superior beloved, is someone who shows me how to live a balanced life. Marjada Purushottam Ramchandra ji, this is an example. He has shown how to lead, how to perfectly lead, how to perfectly live all the relationships what life has given me. Not to excel in one part and fail in others, how to excel in all the parts of life. So he is my superior beloved, demonstrates how to lead a balanced life. He's a Sansar Sannyasi. So when I go to him, ultimately I achieve this stage that my friends will be there, my family, my parents, and out of my attachment to my superior beloved, I'll be maintaining an equal distance from all of them. So I can maintain, I can strike out a perfect balance in all the relationships instead of going to an imbalanced state of life. This is a major achievement if I go to, if I have a superior beloved. Okay, so these are the points I discussed, my individual challenges, and this is how my superior beloved is going to fulfill me, and how this can be achieved. This can only be achieved if I have a perfect attachment to my ideal. I will be existing along with my weaknesses, and my guide, my superior beloved, will also be existing. I have to bind myself with him. This I was not aware of. This term religious, this term religion is a very critical term. It is only defined in the literature of Sri Thakur. Religion means to bind the soul of a man with that of the superior beloved. एक इंसान को अपने superior beloved के साथ जो बांध देता है, उस process को religion बोला जाता है. This I was not aware of. When I was googling, मैं Google में एक बार धर्म को ढूंढ रहा था, धर्म का इंग्लिश क्या है? What is the meaning of dharma? Google told me dharma is religion. It's so confusing. Actually, dharma and religion are actually not same. Religion is the process. So you can see here, the word religion has been derived from the word religia, which means to bind or to attach. So they are few past prophets. This is my present prophet, which is actually consummating all the past prophets. So religion is the process which will bind me to my superior beloved. This is what religion is defined by Sri Thakur. The act of binding oneself with the ideal in love, worship and admiration, and live on accordingly in an acceleration of one's being and becoming is what religion to me. So this is the real definition of religion. If I want to adhere myself to my living ideal, I have to be religious. I have to bind myself with him. In addition to that, one more Vani, I'll just conclude with this. Sri Thakur said this, Sangat Sanjayata Shraddha, Shraddhaya Drishti Suddhata, Drishti Suddhahi Vishwas, Vishwasat Nirvicharata, Nirvicharat Bhavet Prema, Premaschat Atma Samarpan. This is the flow. I have to first of all go to my living ideal, संग करना पड़ेगा, संग से श्रद्धा आएगा, संगात संजायत श्रद्धा, मुझे पहले मेरे आदर्श के पास, सुपीरियर बिलीवर के पास जाना पड़ेगा, मुझे उनके साथ अपने आप को अटैच करना पड़ेगा. द प्रोसेस ऑफ इनिशिएशन, दीक्षा लेना पड़ेगा. दीक्षा से संग आएगा, संग से श्रद्धा आएगा, श्रद्धा जब आएगा धीरे धीरे दृष्टि शुद्ध हो जाता है. मुझे किसी का नेगेटिव नहीं दिखेगा, दृष्टि मेरा शुद्ध हो जाता है. दृष्टि शुद्ध का नेक्स्ट स्टेज होता है विश्वास. जे भाव विरुद्ध भाव द्वारा आहत व अभिभूत हो ना, वो विश्वास. विश्वास के बाद इंसान निर्विचार हो जाएगा, फिर और प्रश्न नहीं आता है. निर्विचार का नेक्स्ट स्टेज है प्रेम, और उसका लास्ट स्टेज है आत्मसमर्पण. तब इंसान जाके उनके चरणों में अपने आप को हमेशा के लिए आत्मसमर्पण कर देगा. So I pray at the lotus feet of my Almighty Lord that He blesses that belief, that strong faith at His lotus feet, so that we can keep on moving on His path of just carrying out the commands of the Acharya Dev. Jai Guru. Thank you.